The strongest version of yourself is always on the other side of your comfort zone. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about something that's probably been slowing you down for way too long. It's not your job. It's not your friends. It's not even the situation you're in right now. The thing holding you back, it's you. Or more specifically, it's the weaker version of yourself. You know the one I'm talking about. The part of you that overthinks everything, comes up with excuses, avoids challenges, and settles for less than you deserve. It's that version of yourself that keeps whispering, maybe tomorrow, or what's the point? Well, today is the day you leave that version behind. I'm going to help you break free from it. Together, we'll uncover how to silence that voice, take charge of your life, and step into the version of yourself that's confident, bold, and unstoppable. But let me make one thing clear before we get started. This isn't about being perfect. It's not about getting everything right all the time. It's about making the choice to be better, to act better, to aim higher. It's about owning your future and refusing to let that weaker side of you hold you back any longer. So if you've been feeling stuck, frustrated, or like you're just going in circles, this message is for you. You don't have to stay where you are. You don't have to let the doubts, fears, and excuses win anymore. Stay with me for the next few minutes. Because by the end of this video, you'll have a clear plan to replace that weaker version of yourself with a stronger, more empowered one. The only question is, are you ready to make it happen? If you are, let's jump in. Number 1, why this matters right now. What if the biggest roadblock in your life isn't your circumstances, your background, or the people around you? What if the real obstacle is you, the version of yourself that hesitates, overthinks, and settles for less? Think about it. We all have that side of us, the one that clings to comfort and avoids challenges. It's the part of you that says, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'm just not ready yet. It whispers excuses and justifies staying in the same place, even when deep down you know you want more. That weaker version of yourself feels safe because it doesn't ask much of you. But here's the hard truth. It's holding you back from everything you're capable of. And unless you face it, nothing in your life is going to change. This matters right now because time doesn't stop for anyone. Every second, every minute that passes is gone forever. There's no rewind button, no way to pause the clock. And the question you need to ask yourself is this: what am I doing with my time? Are you using it to grow, to move closer to the life you dream of? Or are you letting it slip away, given to excuses, distractions, and fears? That weaker version of yourself doesn't care about your dreams. It whispers it's okay to wait, or you're not ready yet, because it's more comfortable staying where you are than facing the risk of failure or discomfort. But every day that you listen to that voice, you're losing more than just time. You're losing the opportunities that could change your life. You're missing out on the version of yourself you could become if you just stop letting fear and hesitation win. You might be thinking, aren't I supposed to take it easy on myself? Don't I need to be patient? And yes, patience has its place. But let's not confuse patience with procrastination. Giving yourself grace isn't the same as making excuses. There's a difference between waiting for the right time and wasting the time you already have. The truth is, life doesn't wait. The world keeps moving, and if you're standing still, you're falling behind. Every moment you let slip away is a moment you can never get back. That's why this matters so much. The person you are today is the result of every choice you've made up until now. And if you're not where you want to be, it's not because life is unfair or someone else is holding you back. It's because you've allowed that weaker version of yourself to make the decisions. This isn't about blaming yourself. It's about being honest. Sometimes the truth is uncomfortable, but it's also necessary. You need to take a hard look at where you are and ask yourself, am I letting my doubts, fears, or habits dictate my life? Because if you don't confront what's holding you back, you'll stay stuck in the same patterns. But once you acknowledge it, once you recognize that the weaker version of yourself has been running the show, you can do something about it. You can start to take control. You can start making better decisions, even small ones, to shift your life in a new direction. Here's the thing. No one is coming to rescue you. No one is going to swoop in and hand you the life you've always wanted. That's not how this works. If you want more, you have to step up and become more. You have to kill the version of yourself that settles for mediocrity and hesitates at every opportunity. That voice that says, not today, needs to be silenced. And you have to start showing up for yourself, even when it's uncomfortable. Why does this matter so much? Because the choices you make today decide who you'll be tomorrow. Every time you let the weaker version of yourself win, you're reinforcing the habits that hold you back. you're making it stronger. But every time you take a step forward, no matter how small, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of change. You're building momentum, and that momentum can transform your life if you let it. Think about it like this. You have a finite amount of time, and every moment is an opportunity to move closer to your goals or further away from them. There's no standing still. You're either growing or you're not. So the question is this: what are you going to do about it? Will you keep letting that weaker version of yourself dictate your life, or will you take control and start moving toward the life you want? You don't have to overhaul everything at once. It starts with a single decision, a decision to stop waiting, to stop hesitating, and to start acting. The sooner you take that first step, the sooner you'll realize that you're capable of so much more than you've been giving yourself credit for. And that's why this matters right now. Because today, not tomorrow, is the moment to start becoming the person you were meant to be. Number 2, recognizing the weak version of yourself. Let's get real for a moment. How well do you truly know yourself? I'm not talking about the version of you that the world sees, the one that smiles, nods, and does what's expected. I'm talking about the quiet version of you that exists when no one else is around. The part of you that hesitates, overthinks, and avoids taking risks. The part of you that whispers, maybe tomorrow, or what if I fail? That's the weak version of yourself. And if you're not careful, it can quietly take over your life without you even realizing it. The first step to change is recognizing this version of yourself. It's not easy. No one likes to admit their flaws or look directly at the habits and fears that are holding them back. It's uncomfortable, even painful, to acknowledge that some of the reasons you're stuck are self-inflicted. But here's the thing. You can't fight what you can't see. You can't fix what you won't face. That's why you need to stop avoiding this conversation with yourself and take an honest look at how the weaker version of you shows up in your life. So who is this weak version of you? How does it act? How does it sound? Maybe it's the voice that convinces you to procrastinate on things that matter. Maybe it's the habits that keep you scrolling on your phone instead of working on your dreams. Maybe it's the fear that tells you not to try because failing would be embarrassing. Or maybe it's the excuses you use to justify staying in your comfort zone. I don't have time. I'm too tired. I'll start when things settle down. Whatever form it takes, the weak version of you thrives on avoiding discomfort. It wants to keep you in a place that feels safe, even if that safety comes at the cost of your growth, your happiness, and your future. And here's the tricky part. This version of you is sneaky. It doesn't announce itself loudly, "I'm here to sabotage you." Instead, it whispers quietly, blending in with your everyday thoughts and making you believe that its excuses are reasonable. But let me tell you something. The weak version of you is a liar. It tells you that the risk isn't worth it. It tells you that you're not ready, that you're not good enough, or that you'll fail anyway. And if you listen to that voice, if you believe those lies, it will hold you back for the rest of your life. The good news is, once you start paying attention, you can learn to recognize it for what it is and take your power back. So how do you begin? Start by becoming more aware of your thoughts, your habits, and your choices. Pay attention to the moments when you hold yourself back. For example, think about the times you've avoided doing something important because it felt uncomfortable. Think about the days you've hit snooze instead of waking up to work on your goals. Think about the times you've convinced yourself that tomorrow is a better day to start, even though you've said the same thing 100 times before. Recognizing these patterns isn't about beating yourself up. It's about shining a light on the areas where you've been letting the weaker version of yourself take the lead. Awareness is the first step to breaking free. But here's where the magic happens. Just as the weaker version of you exists, so does a stronger version. It's the part of you that's capable of making bold choices, pushing through discomfort, and achieving incredible things. This version of you isn't afraid of growth or challenge. It's the part of you that takes action even when it's hard, that keeps going, even when it's scary, and that believes in your potential, even when you don't. The difference between these two versions of yourself comes down to one thing: choice. Every day, you have the power to choose which version of yourself you're going to feed. Are you going to let the weaker version call the shots, or are you going to choose the stronger, bolder version instead? Let me give you an example. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and making one small decision that aligns with your stronger self. Maybe it's getting out of bed as soon as the alarm goes off. Maybe it's spending 15 minutes working on a goal instead of watching TV. Maybe it's saying no to something that drains your energy so you can focus on what really matters. These small choices might not seem like much at the moment, but they add up Each time you choose the stronger version of yourself, you're building momentum. You're proving to yourself that you're capable of more. Recognizing the weak version of yourself doesn't mean you'll never hear that voice again. It will always be there waiting for you to give in. But every time you choose to rise above it, every time you take action despite it, you weaken its hold on you. You remind yourself that you're in control, not your doubts, not your fears, and certainly not your excuses. So take a moment today to ask yourself, who is the weaker version of me? How does it show up in my life? And how can I start choosing the stronger version of myself instead? Because the life you want, the person you want to become, it's all waiting for you on the other side of that choice. You just have to be willing to take the first step. Number 3, the cost of letting the weak version win. Let's talk about the price you're paying by letting that weak version of yourself stay in charge. It's not something most of us like to think about, but it's critical. Every choice you make has a cost, whether you realize it or not. The cost of letting the weak version of yourself take the lead isn't just about what you're missing out on today. It's about the opportunities you'll never see, the potential you'll never fulfill, and the person you'll never become if you don't take action. The price is much higher than you think. Imagine this. You have a dream, a goal, something you've been wanting to accomplish for years. Maybe it's starting your own business, writing a book, getting in the best shape of your life, or pursuing a passion you've been putting off. But every time you think about taking that first step, the weak version of you speaks up. What if you fail? What will people think? It's too hard right now. So you hesitate. You stay in your comfort zone, convincing yourself that you'll get to it someday. But here's the hard truth. Someday often turns into never. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months. And before you know it, years have passed. The dream is still sitting there, untouched, and you're no closer to it than when you first thought about it. What's worse, deep down, you know it didn't have to be this way. You know you were capable of more, but you let fear, doubt, and excuses hold you back. That's the cost of letting the weak version win. Regret. And regret is one of the heaviest burdens you can carry. But it doesn't stop there. The weaker version of yourself doesn't just hold you back from your goals. It affects every area of your life. Think about your relationships. When you let fear and doubt control you, are you really showing up as the partner, friend, or parent you want to be? Or are you holding back, afraid to have tough conversations, or to be vulnerable? When you let the weaker version of yourself take over, it creates distance and misunderstandings in your relationships. Instead of building deeper connections, you settle for surface-level interactions, all because it feels safer. Then there's your health. How many times have you told yourself, I'll start eating better tomorrow, or I'll go to the gym next week? Meanwhile, your energy is low, your confidence is slipping, and you're not showing up as your best self. The weaker version of you doesn't care about long-term health or well-being. It's focused on short-term comfort, like skipping workouts or indulging in unhealthy habits. But in the end, you're the one who pays the price. Let's get even deeper. When you let the weaker version of yourself win, it impacts the way you feel about yourself. Every time you choose comfort over growth, you reinforce the belief that you're not capable of change. You start to doubt your own potential. You lose confidence. And that lack of confidence seeps into everything you do, making it even harder to take action the next time an opportunity comes your way. But here's the thing. You don't have to keep paying this price. You have the power to take back control. It starts with recognizing what the weaker version of you is costing you. Think about the opportunities you've missed because you didn't take action. Think about the dreams you've put on hold. Think about the relationships and experiences you could have had if you'd been willing to step out of your comfort zone. Now ask yourself, is it worth it? Is the temporary comfort of staying the same really worth the long-term regret of not becoming the person you're meant to be? The answer is almost always no. And once you realize that, you'll find the motivation to start making different choices. Here's the good news. The cost of staying stuck isn't permanent. You can decide right now to stop letting that weaker version of yourself run the show. You can decide to take action, even if it's a small step. Progress doesn't have to be big and dramatic. It just has to start. The moment you choose to do something, anything, to move forward, you're proving to yourself that change is possible. You're breaking the cycle. And the best part, the rewards of choosing the stronger version of yourself far outweigh the discomfort of change. Imagine waking up each day with a sense of purpose, knowing you're working towards something meaningful. Imagine looking in the mirror and feeling proud of the person you're becoming. Imagine the relationships you could build, the confidence you could gain, and the impact you could make if you stopped letting fear and excuses hold you back. The cost of staying the same is steep, but the cost of growth is worth every bit of effort. Yes, change requires discipline, courage, and commitment. But what you gain in return, a life filled with purpose, fulfillment, and possibility, is priceless. So let me ask you this. What are you willing to let go of to create the life you truly want? Are you ready to stop paying the price of staying stuck? Are you ready to step into the stronger version of yourself and start building the future you deserve? The choice is yours. And the best time to make that choice is right now. Number 4, uncovering the strong version of yourself. There's a version of you that's strong, fearless, and capable of achieving everything you've ever dreamed of. That version isn't a distant fantasy or an impossible goal. It's real. It's alive. It's already inside you, waiting to be uncovered. The problem is that stronger version of yourself has been buried under layers of doubt, fear, and hesitation. You've spent so much time listening to the weak version of yourself, the one that holds you back, that you may have forgotten what the stronger you even looks like. But today, that changes. Today, we're going to uncover the version of you that's been waiting to shine. Let me make one thing clear. Uncovering the stronger version of yourself isn't about becoming someone else. It's not about pretending to be perfect or putting on a facade. It's about stripping away everything that isn't really you. Every excuse, every fear, every habit that keeps you stuck, so that the real you, the best you, can come to the surface. The truth is, the strongest version of yourself isn't something you have to create from scratch. It's already there. Your job is to let it out, to give it space to grow, and to let it take the lead. Take a moment to imagine what your life could look like if you were living as your strongest self. Picture yourself waking up every morning with a clear sense of purpose, knowing exactly who you are and what you're here to do. Imagine walking into a room with confidence, unshaken by doubt, because you've put in the work to build yourself up. Think about the kind of relationships you could have if you stopped holding back and showed up as your most authentic, powerful self. That's what's possible when you let the strongest version of yourself take charge. But let's be real. It's not easy to uncover this version of you. If it were, everyone would do it. The reality is most people stay stuck in their comfort zones because they're afraid of what they'll find if they dig deeper. They're afraid to confront their weaknesses, their fears, and the areas where they've fallen short. And that fear keeps them small. It keeps them from stepping into their potential and creating the life they want. But that doesn't have to be your story. The first step to uncovering your strongest self is to make a decision to stop hiding, to stop settling, and to stop making excuses. It's a decision to face yourself honestly and say, I know I'm capable of more and I'm ready to do what it takes to bring that out. That decision is the spark, the starting point, but once you make it, you have to back it up with action. So how do you begin? Start by getting clear on who you really are. Not who the world thinks you should be, not who your family or friends expect you to be, but who you are at your core. What are your values? What do you care about? What excites you? What kind of life do you want to create? These are the questions you need to answer, because the strongest version of yourself is rooted in your truth. It's not about copying someone else or fitting into a mold. It's about being unapologetically you. Once you're clear on who you are, the next step is to align your actions with that truth. This is where the real work begins. Because knowing who you are and what you want is one thing, but living it out every day is another. It means making choices that support your growth, even when they're hard. It means saying no to things that don't align with your values, even when it's uncomfortable. It means holding yourself accountable, even when no one else is watching. This process isn't smooth or easy. There will be days when you doubt yourself, days when the weaker version of you tries to take control. But every time you push through those moments, every time you choose to keep going, you uncover a little more of your strength. You prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you ever thought possible. Here's something incredible. When you start uncovering the strongest version of yourself, you'll notice something amazing: momentum. At first, the changes might feel small. Maybe you wake up a little earlier, make healthier choices, or set stronger boundaries. But over time, those small changes create a ripple effect. They touch every area of your life, and before you know it, you're living in a way that feels powerful, aligned, and true to who you are. Uncovering the strongest version of yourself isn't just about improving your own life. It's about the impact you can have on others. When you step into your strength, you become a source of inspiration. You show others what's possible when you stop holding back. You encourage them to do the same. And that's one of the greatest gifts you can give to the world. So here's my challenge to you. Stop settling. Stop hiding. Stop listening to the voice that tells you you're not good enough. Make the decision today to uncover the strongest version of yourself. Start small, if you have to. One step, one choice, one action at a time. But don't stop. Keep going. Keep growing. Because the life you want, the person you were meant to be, is waiting for you. And when you uncover that version of yourself, you won't just change your own life. You'll change the lives of everyone around you. Number 5. The power of small, consistent choices. Let's talk about a truth that doesn't get enough credit. Big transformations don't happen overnight. They're not the result of massive, one-time efforts or some dramatic event. Real, lasting change is built step by step through small, consistent choices you make every single day. Those little choices may seem insignificant in the moment, but over time, they compound into something powerful. And the best part, they're completely within your control. Right now, today, you have the power to make choices that will lead you closer to the life you want. Think about this. If your future self, stronger, more confident, and more accomplished, could sit across from you today, what would they say? Would they thank you for the choices you're making now? Or would they urge you to stop procrastinating, to start taking action, to stop waiting for the perfect time? Because here's the thing, the strongest version of you isn't built by chance. It's built brick by brick, choice by choice. And those choices don't need to be flashy or dramatic. They just need to be intentional and consistent. Here's the secret about small choices. They're easy to overlook. Skipping a workout, hitting snooze, or putting off a task might feel harmless in the moment. After all, it's just one time, right? But every time you make those choices, you're feeding the weaker version of yourself. You're reinforcing the habits and mindset that keep you stuck. On the flip side, every time you choose to take action, even if it's something small, you're feeding the stronger version of yourself. You're proving to yourself that you can show up, even when it's hard. And with every small win, you build momentum. Momentum is a powerful force. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill. It starts small, almost invisible. But as it keeps moving, it gains size and speed until it becomes unstoppable. The same is true for your action. Let's say you commit to one small change, like waking up 30 minutes earlier to work on your goals. That first morning might feel tough, but you do it. The next day, it gets a little easier. By the end of the week, you've built a habit, and that habit sparks confidence. Confidence leads to more action, and before you know it, you've created a ripple effect of positive change. But let's address a common fear. What if I mess up? What if I make the wrong choice or fall back into old habits? Let me tell you something. You will mess up. You will have days where you slip, where you fall short of your intentions, and that's okay. One mistake doesn't define you, just like one good choice doesn't instantly transform your life. What matters is how you respond. Do you let a slip-up derail you, or do you get back on track? Progress isn't about being perfect. It's about consistently showing up, even after you stumble. Think of it like climbing a mountain. Every step you take brings you closer to the top. But let's say you trip and fall back a few steps. Does that mean you give up and go back to the bottom? Of course not. You get up, dust yourself off, and keep climbing. The same principle applies to the choices you make every day. It's not about never falling. It's about always choosing to rise again. Small, consistent choices also go beyond your actions. They include the way you think and speak to yourself. Every time you tell yourself, I can't do this, or I'm not good enough, you're strengthening the weak version of yourself. But every time you choose to believe in your potential, to remind yourself of your goals, to say, I've got this, you're empowering the strong version of yourself. Your self-talk matters. It shapes how you see yourself and what you believe is possible. So let's make this practical. What's one small choice you can make today to move closer to the person you want to be? Maybe it's spending 10 minutes reading a book instead of scrolling through social media. Maybe it's preparing a healthy meal instead of grabbing fast food. Maybe it's finally starting that project you've been putting off. Whatever it is, take that first step. And then tomorrow, take another one. Because here's the truth. Your life is the sum of your choices. Every small, consistent action you take is like planting a seed. At first, you might not see much progress, But with time and persistence, those seeds grow into something remarkable. And let's not forget the joy in the process. When you focus on small wins, you start to find satisfaction in the journey itself. You realize that growth isn't just about the destination. It's about those moments when you push through resistance, when you surprise yourself with what you're capable of, when you look back and see how far you've come. That's where the magic happens. So here's my challenge to you. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop telling yourself you'll start tomorrow or next week or next year. Start now. Start small. It doesn't have to be a giant leap. It just has to be a step in the right direction. Because every time you choose to show up, every time you take action, you're building the life you want. And over time, those small, consistent choices will lead to big, transformational results. Remember that small steps may not seem powerful in the moment, but they're what create unstoppable momentum. One step at a time, one day at a time, one choice at a time. You have the power to become the person you're meant to be, starting right now. Number 6, breaking free from excuses. Let's get real. How many times have you told yourself, I'll start tomorrow, or I just don't have the time right now? How often have you said, I'll do it when things settle down, or I can't because of my circumstances? If you're honest, it's probably more often than you'd like to admit. And that's okay. We've all been there. But here's the truth. Excuses might feel valid in the moment, but they're really just barriers you build for yourself. They're what keep you stuck, what hold you back, and what stop you from becoming the person you know you're meant to be. Excuses are comfortable. They're easy. They protect us from the fear of failure, from stepping into the unknown, and from confronting the possibility of discomfort. They give us an out when things feel hard. But let me tell you something. Excuses are also a cage. They keep you small. They trap you in a cycle of inaction. And the longer you cling to them, the harder it becomes to break free. But here's the good news. You hold the key to that cage. You have the power to let go of those excuses and take back control of your life. Think about some of the most common excuses people use, maybe even the ones you've used yourself. I don't have time. Let's break that one down. The truth is, everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. It's not about having the time. It's about making the time. If something truly matters to you, you'll find a way. If it doesn't, you'll find an excuse. What about, I don't know where to start? That's a big one. And I get it. Starting can feel overwhelming, but you don't need to have everything figured out to begin. You just need to take one small step. The rest will unfold as you move forward. And then there's fear, the root of so many excuses. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. Fear is real, and it's powerful. But here's the thing, fear will always be there. The question is whether you let it control you, or whether you decide to face it and take action anyway. Because every time you choose action over fear, you prove to yourself that you're capable. And the more you do that, the less power fear has over you. Let's get honest for a second. What's an excuse you've been holding on to? Maybe it's the belief that you need more resources, more time, or more experience to get started. Or maybe it's the story you tell yourself about why you're not ready yet. Whatever it is, ask yourself, is this really true? Or is it just something I'm telling myself to stay in my comfort zone? Because here's the truth. Excuses are just stories. They're not facts. They're not reality. And the best part, you can rewrite the story anytime you choose. Breaking free from excuses starts with awareness. It means catching yourself in the moment when you're about to say, I can't because, and asking yourself, is that really true? Or am I just afraid to take the next step? It's about being honest with yourself, even when it's uncomfortable, because you can't change what you're not willing to confront. Once you've identified the excuses holding you back, the next step is to challenge them. Instead of focusing on why you can't do something, ask yourself how you can. Instead of looking for obstacles, look for solutions. Instead of saying, I don't have the time, ask yourself, how can I make time for this? Shifting your mindset from limitation to possibility is one of the most powerful things you can do. It opens up a world of opportunities you didn't see before. Another key to breaking free from excuses is surrounding yourself with the right people. Think about it. When you're around people who make excuses and settle for less, it's easy to fall into the same patterns. But when you surround yourself with people who take action, who push themselves, and who refuse to let excuses hold them back, you're inspired to do the same. Their energy is contagious, and it pulls you toward growth. But let's be clear, breaking free from excuses doesn't mean you'll never make another mistake. It doesn't mean you won't have moments where you fall short. What it means is that you refuse to let those moments define you. It's about getting back up every time you stumble. It's about choosing progress over perfection. Because every time you take even a small step forward, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of more. So what would your life look like if you stopped making excuses? What could you accomplish? Who could you become? Imagine waking up every day, knowing you're taking action toward your dreams instead of putting them off. Imagine the pride you'd feel in yourself for showing up, even when it's hard. That version of you is within reach, but it starts with a decision to let go of the excuses that have been holding you back. Here's my challenge to you. The next time you catch yourself making an excuse, stop and ask yourself, what can I do right now to take a step forward? It doesn't have to be a big step. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be something. Because every time you choose action over excuses, you're breaking the cycle, you're building momentum, you're creating the life you want. Remember this, excuses are comfortable, but they're also a cage, and you have the key. It's time to set yourself free. Take that first step, and don't look back. The life you want is waiting for you. It's up to you to go after it. Number 7, facing fear and doubt. Let's face it, fear is one of the biggest obstacles standing between you and the life you want. It's not your circumstances, your environment, or the people around you. It's fear. And here's the thing. Fear is sneaky. It doesn't always show up as an obvious, overwhelming feeling. Sometimes it hides in your thoughts, in the excuses you make, and in the hesitation that stops you from taking action. Fear whispers, what if you fail? What if people judge you? What if you're just not good enough? And before you know it, you've talked yourself out of chasing your goals, all because of a voice in your head. But here's the truth about fear. It only has as much power as you give it. Fear feeds on your doubts, your hesitation, and your inaction. The more you avoid facing it, the stronger it gets. But the moment you decide to confront it, to take action despite it, fear starts to lose its grip. It becomes smaller, weaker, and far less intimidating than it seemed. Let's break this down. Fear isn't always about something tangible, like heights or public speaking. Often it's the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, or even the fear of success. It's the voice in your head that convinces you it's safer to stay where you are than to risk stepping into the unknown. It tells you things like, you're not ready yet, or it's too hard. And if you listen to that voice, you'll never move forward. You'll stay stuck in the same place, wondering why your life isn't changing. But here's the thing. Fear is a signal. It's not a stop sign. It's a sign that you're standing on the edge of something meaningful, something that has the potential to change your life. Growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. It happens when you face the things that scare you and keep moving forward anyway. Every time you feel fear, it's an opportunity to push past your limits and become stronger. Think about some of the biggest moments in your life, the ones that changed everything. Maybe it was starting a new job, moving to a new city, or making a big decision. Did you feel fear when you took that step? Of course you did. Fear always shows up when you're about to do something important. But the difference between people who succeed and people who stay stuck is how they respond to that fear. Successful people feel it, acknowledge it, and move forward anyway. They don't let fear dictate their actions. The only way to overcome fear is to face it head on. Avoiding it doesn't make it go away. It only makes it stronger. But every time you take a step toward the things that scare you, fear shrinks. You prove to yourself that you're capable of handling more than you thought. You build confidence. And the next time fear shows up, it feels a little less overwhelming. Now let's talk about doubt. Doubt often walks hand in hand with fear. It whispers, what if you're not good enough? What if you try and fail? What if you fall flat on your face? Doubt makes you question yourself, your abilities, and your worth. But here's the truth. Doubt is just a test. It's there to see if you'll let it stop you or if you'll rise above it. And the only way to silence doubt is through action. Every time you take a step forward, no matter how small, you prove to yourself that you can do it. You prove that you're stronger than the doubts in your head. Let me be clear. It's not easy. There will be moments when fear and doubt feel overwhelming. Moments when you'll question everything. Moments when you'll want to give up. But those moments are the ones that matter most. They're the moments that define who you are and what you're capable of. Because every time you choose to keep going, despite the fear and doubt, you're building resilience. You're proving to yourself that you're stronger than the obstacles in your way. So what can you do to start facing fear and doubt? First, acknowledge them. Don't try to ignore or suppress them. That only gives them more power. Instead, recognize them for what they are, a natural part of stepping outside your comfort zone. Next, take action. Even if it's a small step, do something that moves you closer to your goals. Action is the antidote to fear and doubt. It's the only way to prove to yourself that you're capable. Finally, remind yourself that fear and doubt are temporary, but the regret of not trying lasts forever. Imagine looking back on your life and realizing that you let fear stop you from chasing your dreams. That's a far greater cost than any temporary discomfort you'll feel by facing your fears. Here's the truth. You are stronger than you think. You have more courage, more resilience, and more power than you've been giving yourself credit for. And every time you face your fears, you unlock more of that strength. You rewrite the story you've been telling yourself, the one that says you're not ready or not capable, and you replace it with a story of growth, confidence, and success. So the next time fear or doubt shows up, and they will, remember this: they're not signs to stop. They're signs that you're on the verge of something incredible. Step into it, face it, move forward one small step at a time, because the stronger, bolder version of you is waiting on the other side of fear, and you have everything it takes to meet them. Number 8. Building momentum with small wins. Let's talk about momentum. It's that invisible force that keeps you moving forward, even when things feel tough. Momentum isn't something you wait for. It's something you build, step by step, with small, consistent wins. Those little victories might not seem like much in the moment, but over time, they add up and create unstoppable energy that propels you toward your goals. The secret to success isn't about making one huge leap. It's about stringing together small wins that build confidence, progress, and belief in yourself. Have you ever had one of those days where you feel stuck, overwhelmed, or unmotivated? Maybe you're staring at a long to-do list or facing a challenge that feels too big to handle. It's tempting to just shut down and tell yourself, "I'll try again tomorrow." But here's the thing. Those are the moments when building momentum matters most. When you're feeling stuck, even the smallest action can spark a chain reaction that shifts your energy and gets you moving again. Think about it like this. Have you ever forced yourself to do one small thing, like making your bed, tidying your desk, or going for a short walk? That tiny action probably didn't seem like a big deal at the time, but it changed something in you. It gave you a sense of accomplishment, however small, and that feeling motivated you to tackle the next task. Before you knew it, you were on a roll. That's the power of momentum. It starts with a spark, and it grows with every small step you take. Momentum thrives on action, no matter how small. It's not about perfection or waiting until you're ready. It's about doing something, anything, that moves you closer to your goals. Let's say you commit to writing just one sentence for a project you've been avoiding. That one sentence turns into a paragraph. The paragraph turns into a page, and suddenly you're making progress where before there was nothing but hesitation. Every small win builds confidence, and confidence fuels more action. But here's the catch. Momentum doesn't build itself. It requires consistency. It's easy to tell yourself that skipping one workout or one task doesn't matter. And maybe it doesn't, at least not in the short term. But over time, those small decisions add up, and they either push you forward or hold you back. Momentum is like rolling a snowball down a hill. It starts small, and it might take some effort to get it going. But once it's in motion, it gathers speed and becomes harder to stop. That's what you're building with every small win. Let's address a common fear. What if I lose momentum? What if I mess up? The truth is, you probably will. Everyone does. There will be days when you miss a step or fall short of your goals. But losing momentum doesn't mean starting over. It's like climbing a mountain. If you slip and slide back a few steps, you don't give up and go back to the bottom. You get up, steady yourself, and keep climbing. The key is to keep moving, no matter how small the progress might seem. Momentum isn't just about what you do, it's about how you see yourself. Every small win reinforces the belief that you're someone who shows up, someone who takes action, someone who can be trusted to follow through. You're not just building habits, you're building a new identity. And that identity is what fuels long-term success. So how do you start building momentum? Start small. Don't overwhelm yourself with massive goals that feel impossible. Instead, pick one thing you can do today. Something manageable that moves you forward. Maybe it's spending 5 minutes reading about a skill you want to learn. Maybe it's sending one email to start a project. Maybe it's choosing water over soda at lunch. Whatever it is, make it something you can do right now, and then do it. Here's the magic of small wins. They're contagious. One win leads to another, and another. And before you know it, you've created a positive feedback loop. Each action you take gives you a little more confidence, a little more energy, and a little more momentum. And as you build momentum, bigger goals start to feel less intimidating. What once seemed impossible becomes just the next step. It's also important to celebrate your progress, no matter how small. Recognize that every win, every step forward is a victory. Success isn't just about reaching the finish line. It's about the journey, the growth, and the effort you put in along the way. When you celebrate your wins, you're reinforcing the behavior you want to continue. You're reminding yourself that you're capable of progress, and that progress is what builds momentum. So here's my challenge to you. Take one small step today. Don't overthink it, and don't worry about whether it's enough. Just start. Because once you start, you'll find that the next step feels a little easier, and the next one after that. Before you know it, you'll have created a ripple effect that transforms your mindset, your habits, and your life. Remember, momentum doesn't come from waiting, it comes from doing. It's built through small, consistent actions that add up over time. You don't need to do everything all at once. You just need to take one step and then another. And as you keep moving forward, you'll find that momentum becomes your greatest ally, carrying you closer and closer to the life you've always wanted. Number 9. The role of accountability and environment. Let's talk about something crucial. The people and spaces you surround yourself with. Whether you realize it or not, your environment and the people in it play a massive role in shaping who you are, how you think, and what you achieve. They can either push you forward toward growth or hold you back, keeping you stuck in the same patterns. The truth is, your success doesn't just depend on your effort, it depends on your surroundings. There's a well-known idea that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Think about that for a moment. The people you interact with every day, your friends, family, coworkers, have a direct influence on your mindset, your habits, and your ambitions. If you're constantly around people who complain, make excuses, and settle for mediocrity, it's easy to adopt the same mindset. Negativity is contagious, and before you know it, you're thinking the same way, believing that this is just how life is. But the reverse is also true. When you surround yourself with people who are driven, positive, and striving for growth, their energy becomes contagious too. You start to believe in your own potential. You start to push yourself harder. You start to see possibilities instead of obstacles. That's the power of the right environment. It elevates you. It challenges you to rise to the occasion and become the best version of yourself. So here's the first question you need to ask yourself. Who am I spending my time with? Are the people around you inspiring you, encouraging you, and holding you accountable? Or are they draining your energy and keeping you stuck? It's not always an easy question to answer, especially if some of the people in your life have been there for a long time. But if you're serious about growth, you have to be willing to evaluate your relationships honestly. Sometimes leveling up means letting go of relationships that no longer serve you. It doesn't mean cutting people out of your life entirely, but it does mean being intentional about how much time and energy you invest in certain connections. If someone in your life is constantly negative or holding you back, it's okay to create distance. You're not abandoning them, you're prioritizing your growth. And when you grow, you might just inspire them to do the same. But accountability isn't just about the people around you, it's also about the environment you create for yourself. Take a look at your physical space. Is it helping or hindering your progress? A cluttered, disorganized space can make you feel overwhelmed and stuck. On the other hand, a clean, intentional space can give you clarity and energy. When your surroundings reflect your goals and values, it's easier to stay focused and motivated. Creating a positive environment also means setting up systems that support your growth. For example, if you're trying to build a new habit, make it as easy as possible for yourself to succeed. Want to start working out in the morning? Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Want to read more? Keep a book within arm's reach. These small changes in your environment can have a big impact on your ability to stay consistent. Now let's talk about accountability. It's one of the most powerful tools for growth, yet so many people overlook it. Accountability means having someone or something that holds you to your commitments. It could be a friend who checks in on your progress, a coach who pushes you to stay on track, or even a calendar where you track your daily goals. Accountability gives you structure and motivation. It's a reminder that you're not just doing this for yourself. You're doing it because you made a promise to show up. But accountability works both ways. While it's important to have people who hold you accountable, it's equally important to be that person for someone else. When you support and encourage others in their growth, you reinforce your own. You become part of a cycle of mutual growth, where everyone involved is inspired to do better. Here's the bottom line. Success doesn't happen in isolation. It happens in the environment you create and the relationships you nurture. If you're serious about becoming the best version of yourself, you need to surround yourself with people who push you to grow and create spaces that support your goals. This might mean joining a group of like-minded individuals, finding a mentor, or simply spending more time with people who inspire you. But here's the catch. You can't just wait for the perfect environment or the perfect group of people to show up. You have to take responsibility for creating it. You have to seek out opportunities to connect with people who share your values and ambitions. You have to take the initiative to clean up your space and set up systems that make it easier to succeed. The good news is, the effort you put into building a supportive environment will pay off tenfold. So take a moment to reflect. Who are the 5 people you spend the most time with? What kind of energy do they bring into your life? And what kind of environment are you creating for yourself? If the answers to those questions don't align with your goals, it's time to make a change. It might be uncomfortable at first, but it's a necessary step if you want to grow. Remember, you have the power to choose your environment. You have the power to surround yourself with people who challenge and inspire you. And when you do, you'll be amazed at how much faster you'll move toward the life you've always wanted. Take control of your environment, build accountability into your life, and watch how everything starts to change. Number 10, your decision. Your responsibility. Here's a truth that might be hard to hear, but is absolutely necessary. Your life is your responsibility. Where you are right now, your successes, your struggles, your progress, or lack thereof, is the result of the choices you've made. That might sound heavy, but here's the good news. If you're the one responsible, you also hold the power to change it. No one else can do it for you. The decisions you make today will determine the life you live tomorrow. So the question is, what are you going to choose? It's easy to fall into the trap of blaming others or external circumstances. We've all done it. Maybe you've thought, if only my situation was different, I could do more. Or if only someone gave me an opportunity, I'd succeed. It's comforting to believe that the reasons for our challenges are outside of our control. But that mindset keeps you stuck. The moment you hand responsibility for your life to someone or something else, you give away your power. You wait for things to change instead of taking action to create the change yourself. But here's the truth. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to swoop in and hand you the life you've always dreamed of. That's not how this works. The life you want, the goals you've set, and the person you want to become, they're all within your reach, but only if you decide to step up and take ownership of your journey. It starts with acknowledging that you are where you are because of the choices you've made. And while that might be hard to admit, it's also incredibly freeing, because if your choices got you here, new choices can take you somewhere better. Taking responsibility doesn't mean beating yourself up for past mistakes. It's not about guilt or shame. It's about empowerment. It's about recognizing that you have control over what happens next. Every action, every decision, every moment is an opportunity to move closer to your goals. But you have to be willing to take that control. You have to be willing to say, this is my life, and I'm in charge of what I do with it. So what does taking responsibility look like in action? First, it means making decisions that align with the person you want to become. It means choosing discipline over convenience, growth over comfort, and long-term success over short-term gratification. These choices aren't always easy, but they're worth it. Every time you make a decision that supports your growth, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of taking control of your life. Second, taking responsibility means being consistent, even when it's hard. It's easy to show up when you're feeling motivated or when things are going well. But the real test of responsibility is what you do when motivation fades, when obstacles arise, or when progress feels slow. Do you keep going? Or do you let the weaker version of yourself take over? Success doesn't come from perfect effort. It comes from consistent effort. It's about showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it. Third, it means owning your setbacks and learning from them. No one gets it right all the time. You're going to make mistakes, face challenges, and encounter failure along the way. But instead of blaming others or giving up, taking responsibility means asking yourself, what can I learn from this? Every setback is an opportunity to grow, to adjust, and to come back stronger. When you own your journey, even your failures become a stepping stone to success. Here's something important to remember. Taking responsibility doesn't mean doing it all alone. You can and should seek support, mentorship, and guidance from others. But the key difference is that you don't rely on them to create change for you. You're the one doing the work. You're the one making the decisions. The people around you are there to support your growth, not to carry you through it. Taking responsibility also means letting go of the idea that life has to be perfect for you to succeed. You don't need the perfect plan, the perfect timing, or the perfect circumstances. You just need to start where you are with what you have. Progress doesn't come from waiting for everything to line up. It comes from taking action, even when things aren't ideal. Let's get real. Taking responsibility isn't easy. It requires courage, commitment, and a willingness to face the uncomfortable truths about yourself. But it's also the most empowering thing you can do. When you take ownership of your life, you stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being the creator of your future. You realize that you have the power to make changes, to grow, and to build the life you've always wanted. So here's the challenge. Are you ready to take full responsibility for your life? Are you ready to own your decisions, your actions, and your outcomes? Because if you are, everything can change. The life you want is possible, but it's up to you to make it happen. No one else can do it for you. No one else can take the steps you need to take. It's your journey, your responsibility, and your decision. The time to start is now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not someday. Today, make the choice to take ownership of your life. Commit to showing up for yourself, no matter what. Because the truth is, you are capable of so much more than you realize. And when you take responsibility, you unlock the power to create the future you deserve. The only question left is, what will you choose to do with it? In conclusion, it's time to take a stand. The weak version of yourself, the one that procrastinates, doubts, and holds back, needs to be left behind. It's your time to step into your true power. Start taking action, pushing past your fears, and challenging your limits. The only way to evolve is by leaving that version of yourself behind and replacing it with someone stronger, bolder, and more determined. Remember, growth doesn't come easy, but every step you take towards overcoming your obstacles is a step towards becoming the best version of you. It's about being relentless in the pursuit of your goals, staying focused, and refusing to settle for anything less than what you deserve. Don't let anything or anyone hold you back. You have the power to change your life. The choice is in your hands. It's time to cut off excuses, banish self-doubt, and make each day count. Break free from the chains of the past and step into a future you've always dreamed of. Let today be the day you commit to change, to killing that weak version of yourself, and to building a life you're truly proud of. Take action now. Your future self will thank you. Let's do this together. Stay strong, stay motivated, and keep pushing forward. You are capable of more than you think. Let's get started.